We're looking at figure 12.1 on page 229 of your textbook. Important bit about this graph is that they show the information both in a table and also in a graph. So if you first look at the table, we'll see that in this situation the government decided that 1 ton of emissions would cost a charge of $120. So if I emit 4 tons, then I have to pay a charge of $120 per ton, and gives me a total charge of $480 in order to emit 4 tons of this emission. So in the first column we have emissions from 0 all the way up to 10. They do it this way around. You can do it the other way as well, just to show that 10 is the maximum amount of emissions I would like to emit if I didn't have I have to pay a charge, and then 0 is obviously the minimum amount you can emit. Second column shows the marginal abatement cost, meaning the cost I pay for the last unit of emissions. 10 is the maximum, so I don't pay anything. There's no abatement cost if I emit 10 tons per month, because that's my maximum amount. However, when I want to reduce it from 10 to 9 over a year, then it would cost $15 for that reduction. If I want to reduce it from 9 to 8, it would cost $30 for that reduction, and so forth. So you can see the marginal abatement cost gets more as closer I get to 0, and that also makes sense from what we know about my marginal abatement cost. Initially it's quite cheap to reduce the amount I emit with 1 unit, and then later on it gets really expensive. Total abatement cost does not refer to reducing it with 1 unit, but it refers to the total amount I pay in order to clean up, in order to abate. So at 10 units it's 0 because I don't pay any abatement costs. At 9 it's 15 because I reduce 1 unit, and that 1 unit costs me 15, so my total is 15. 2 units it's 45 to reduce by 2 units. Why? Because the first unit was 15 and the second unit was 30, and 15 plus 30 gives me 45, and so forth. So you can also see total abatement will obviously increase as I get closer to 0. And then the tax is a bit more simpler. So we said it's 120 per unit I emit. If I emit 10 units, it's 10 times 120, it's $1,200. If I emit 9, it's 9 times 120, it's $1,080. If I emit 8, it's 8 times $120, gives me $960. So that is where I get this information from over here. And then lastly is just adding up this column with this column, giving me my total cost. So total cost is the total abatement cost plus my total tax bill at $120 per ton. Just get rid of all this. In the graph below, it's the same information, just given graphically and not given in table format. So it shows the marginal abatement cost curve. So it shows the information given here, right? When marginal abatement costs is or if we emit 10 units, then marginal abatement cost is 0, and then if we go closer to 0 emissions, my marginal abatement cost increases. Now we can see from the table here that the minimum amount my minimum total cost is all the way over here at $855 dollars. So this is where I emit 4 tons per month. Then my total abatement cost is $375, and my total tax bill is $480. So let's just highlight that so we can remember this is where we minimize our total cost. So this point is also marked on the graph over here at 4 units of emissions. The cost that I know from the table, $120, I minimize my total costs. Now we know the area below the marginal abatement cost curve gives me my total abatement cost. So area B shows my total abatement cost, which is $375. So I know the value of this area is $375. Right. We also know that I pay the same amount of tax for the amount of emissions amount of tons I emit. So in this case, I pay 120 for 4 tons of emissions. So the area over here, this area, gives me my total tax bill, which we know from the table is, sorry, just get there, which we know from the table is $480. So you just have to know where what is on this graph and how it works, and where, especially where your tax, your total tax bill is, and you know where you'll get that information from. That's important. You probably won't be asked to draw this, but you should understand what's going on here and be able to discuss it.